got a little bit of an update for you. Definitely sad and pathetic, but you know what? Shout out to the young brother who is sitting here and still standing up for his rights that are protected by law, and somehow or another, his school, one of the catalysts for the reason why this law was enacted in this state to begin with, still don't care. Refuse to uphold the law, and they have decided they are going to double down, grind in their heels. They're not giving in. No matter how many times they get sanctioned, no matter how many times they get fined, no matter how much trouble they're going to get into. Barbers Hill, that's right, that high school, has decided they don't care. No, Locs, no service. They've decided. All right, so let's take a look at what they are doing still. Y'all remember this young man? Right? So he was just the most recent casualty from Barbers Hill Academy. If y'all remember, Darryl George, at the time that we had covered this, he had literally been suspended since like the first day of school, August 31st. And he had been in this in-school suspension because he was non-compliant with the school's dress code. Now, remember, they changed the dress code to try to make the wording somehow or another ban Darryl, when really it just comes down to like, no, they don't like locks. They don't want your hair to be in black hairstyles. You want to be here, you got to conform. That's basically what they're saying. Okay. Now, Darryl George, who is already 18, has spent most of his entire year outside of the regular classroom. They said that his braided locks fell below his eyebrows and earlobes and violated the district's dress code. Even though, as we know, number one, that violates the Crown Act, because number two, as you can see in the image, his hair does not fall below his eyebrows or his collar or whatever. His hair is in a state where it's not falling below anything, is it? No. If you remember what Barbers Hill said was, yeah, but if he were to take down those braids and then stretch it downwards instead of upwards the way y'all's naps grow, well, then it would be longer than his eyebrow. Therefore, sorry, but no dice. That's basically what they're saying, right? And so they didn't care that the Crown Act, which again was instated because of their issues. Listen, I will make sure that I link, if y'all didn't hear this story before, I'll make sure I link the previous coverage that really encompasses all of the details. I'll make sure that I link that below. But what's happening now, right? That's where we're at. What is happening now? I mean, geez, it's like December, right? This young man has had literally no relief. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. For now, what's happening on the legal back end of this? Well, the state representative Ron Reynolds, a Democrat and chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, said he planned to file an amendment to the law during the next session that specifically addresses length to stop their pretextual argument to not comply with the Crown Act. Right? They are acting in bad faith to continue discriminating against African American students, Reynolds said in an email. George said he feels like he is being singled out. Darryl George said he feels like he's being singled out because there are other boys in the school with longer hairstyles than his. He was denied an exemption that the family requested because of the hairstyle's cultural and religious importance. It's frustrating because I'm getting punished for something everyone else is doing, which is growing hair and having hair. Well, punished how? Well, he's actually being sent to an alternative education program? What is that? Let's take a look. So after serving more than a month of in-school suspension over his dreadlocks, Darryl George, a black student in Texas, was told he will be removed from his high school and sent to a disciplinary alternative education program. Disciplinary. He will be sent to EPIC, an alternative school program from October 12th through to November 29th for failure to comply with multiple campus and classroom regulations. The principal said on Wednesday. So this is Wednesday before October 12th. This has already happened. Okay? He was actually literally sent to this disciplinary program. Like he did something wrong. He's a bad, troubled kid for growing his hair and then wearing it styled in a way that totally complies with the dress code. Okay, perfect. Now, the principal for Barbers Hill, Lance Murphy, wrote that George has repeatedly violated the district's previously communicated standards of student conduct. Really? The letter also said that George will be allowed to return to regular classroom instruction on November 30th, but will not be allowed to return to his high school's campus until then unless he's there to discuss his conduct with school administrators. What does this seem like to y'all? Does this seem a little blackmail-y? Does it seem a little extortion-y to anybody? Okay. Barbers Hill Independent School District prohibits male students from having hair extending below their eyebrows, earlobes, or top of a t-shirt collar, according to the student handbook. Well, we've already seen his hair. It doesn't, right? Okay. Additionally, hair on all students must be clean, well-groomed, geometrical, and not an unnatural color or variation. The school does not require uniforms. That's interesting, right? Not an unnatural color or variation. Therefore, by their own dress code, if Black people were to, say, relax their hair, straighten it, right, to try to conform, they would be out of dress code since that would be an unnatural variation for them. Interesting. Right. So now y'all get it, right? You get where we're at. So first and foremost, we have to recognize that Barbers Hill told cousins DeAndre Arnold and Caden Bradford back in 2020 that they had no choice but to cut their dreadlock. Then they started trying to change the policy around so that way it was like a dress code violation and not like a racism thing. And so the family sued the district, and that whole entire case helped to spur the Texas Crown Act being enacted. It was enacted on September 1st. This is because of Barbers Hill. Now what happened is on August 31st, Darryl, this poor young man, he was already suspended for dreadlocks. The act came in September 1st. As of September 1st, he should be unsuspended, you'd think. But no, he got in-school suspension after in-school suspension for refusing to cut his hair, which he shouldn't have had to because it's protected under the Crown Act, right? Cool. So then they send him to this disciplinary school, Epic, because he's such a bad kid. Yeah. So then what happened? Because he was sent for a short period of time, basically extortion-y, basically, we're going to screw with you in your life and your future and whatever, unless you comply, do as we say. So what happened? Well, November 30th came. December 1st came. He's going back to school, right? To his high school campus. Well, what happened? Well, it came. He refused to cut his hair, and Barbers Hill sent him back to in-school suspension for refusing to change his hairstyle. Literally, it was his first day back at the school after spending a month at an off-site disciplinary program. First day, resuspended. So for real at this point, I don't know what we do. Do we write petitions? Do we just grassroots, hey guys, let's all just put our support behind this at this point? Like, what do we do to support this young man and his right, his actual right, his protected by law right to wear his hair in a culturally and ethnically respecting way that still respects the dress code? His hair's geometrical. There's two on this side, two on this side. It very much matches. Oh, it's natural. This is a totally natural way for him as a young Black man to be wearing his hair. Like, this is a natural variation. Locks are not something we have to try to do. Our hair will naturally lock. This is absolutely insane. But shout out and kudos to this young man and the young men before him that refused to back down to this tyranny and this obviously barely veiled, thinly cloaked racism from Barbers Hill Academy. I don't know. Hopefully there is a resolution that does not destroy this young man's education and future prospects. I don't know. But y'all let me know what you think about this update and about what's going on at Barbers Hill Academy.
And I might not get to the finish line with you, but I will continue to strive to carve out my own space before passing this baton on to a new generation of runner, confident in victory because success, it runs in my race.